Hello, everybody. Welcome to Realtor Reputation. I'm April Lopez.
And I'm Shannon Howard-Basorti.
And we are so excited. We took a little break and we're back.
Spring break, the hiatus.
Yeah, I think the hustle and bustle of just life got ahead of us.
Well, there's definitely a spring market happening.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we have more inventory than we've had in the last few years. At our meeting the other day, they said we're almost doubled from last year, which is great.
Right.
Gives buyers choices.
Yep, that's exactly right. And in addition to that, we know that we're working moms and living our lives with teenagers, and that consumed me. I know. Somebody called me and says, hey, can we go grab a drink, on a Tuesday or whatever. And normally I'd be like, yeah, let's go catch up. My entire month of April was every single day we had something going on after school, track meets, baseball games, practices, stuff on the weekends. I was doing open houses. There was no time that would be free.
And then once you hit May 1st, you're in Maycember.
Yeah.
So there is literally, we've had FFA dinner this week. We had lacrosse dinner. We have our track meet. We're going to Fortuna on Friday for our anniversary. So we are going up there. And then, we're getting prepped for dance shows and, end of the year finals and all that. So I don't even have prom. That's a whole other thing.
We had to go to prom. Well, my daughter went to prom. I was so bummed about that. We'll just go right into it. Let's talk about it. Mom moments of, we'll say the week or the last couple weeks, because this is our life. And I went on vacation for my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. We went to New York. My husband and I went to New York. And I had planned this let me just backtrack. I really wanted to go see Othello on Broadway. Othello is Denzel Washington and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yes.
I had been following this, waiting for tickets to come out, and I was able to get the tickets pre-sale. I booked this trip probably a year and a half before I even planned on it. So, a year and a half, I don't have dates for April, and I was just hoping that nothing landed on that weekend, and prom landed on that weekend.
Of course it did.
So, of course, I call in the troops, my daughter, my mom, my in-laws,
At least
everybody.
have local troops, which is amazing.
Yeah. So my daughter got my other daughter ready, and we were FaceTiming as she was getting ready, but still it's your heart hurts because we try to be present parents and to not be there. It was very, very difficult, but it is what it is. That goes along with just something happening every single day.
Well, and I think that's the hard part, right? Because you try to schedule what you can, but we all know the rule, right? You schedule a vacation and everything blows up.
Oh, yeah.
That's the real estate rule 101.
Yeah.
No matter what we do. Yeah. And, we have to schedule vacations because if we don't put things on the calendar, we're never going to leave.
Well, that's exactly right. Yeah. And I don't know, it is what it is. I don't know. I had a moment and I was I'm just
hard.
My husband's
but she's only a junior, so next year.
That's exactly. So
you can't schedule anything in April or May.
April, May, football season, wrestling season, any season. I can't go away.
I'm telling you.
And it's hard because it's as working parents, we work, and I need some sort of sanity and focus time with my husband also, as well as my kids. And it's you try to carve out.
Yeah.
And I
don't know the concept. We just feel I think
we be in Fortuna for your anniversary.
Yeah, for my 21st anniversary, I'm going to Fortuna with a room for 4. So romantic. We just laugh.
It is what it is. I was just saying I have an aunt who lives in Fortuna, and there's a nice restaurant on the water there. You guys can go have lunch or dinner or find time, carve out time.
I'm gonna carve out some time. I think we're gonna go to dinner on Sunday night after my open house.
Oh, good.
Because we have to come home so I can go to my open house on Sunday. Now I have 2, so I've been trying to get coverage for the other one.
That's the hardest part. That's the hardest part. So let's actually, did you want to talk about any other mom moments or what's going on?
Mom moments. Well, I just feel like I have so many, but the highlights, I think I have so many funny ones, but well, my one daughter has been a volleyball player. And we signed up for all these camps this summer.
Yeah.
Because you have to sign up,
Yeah.
And she's, really hoping to make the team as a sophomore, which would be JV. That was a freshman team last year. And so I'm okay, well, let's, work on these skills. And she's been going to private lessons. So I come home from a really long day the other day. And my husband's so I've just been told that she's going to try out for cheerleading.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, what? Come with me.
Don't you love the indecision?
I'm like, do we think we should have like a discussion about this? So, yeah, we'll see how that goes.
So she's not going to do
Well, she has to do all the camps. They're non-refundable, so she's going to volleyball camp. And I'm like, well, if you need some money for cheer camp, you're going to need to raise a GoFundMe. So we have a GoFundMe link later.
Oh my gosh. And here's what we say to that. Like, Bea always says she doesn't want to do like softball over the summer. She always ends up doing softball over the summer. And if she goes to volleyball camps, she might change her mind. Who knows?
No, but I was just like,
or maybe she'll try out for the camp and see how it goes.
I think like it's funny because like, you know how it is. The more you're like, no, you can't do that, or no, you can't go out with him.
It's the more they want to do that.
So I'm like, oh, okay. And I like walk away and I like go in the bathroom. I'm like,
utter chaos breaks loose. Yes.
And I also got like an amazing Mother's Day gift.
Oh, wait, you text me, so I already know what it is.
So, you know, last year, I think you might all remember, we had a little camping incident where the bear like shook
that's
our
right.
cooler. And then I talked Mark into like the Yeti.
Uh-huh.
So the bear didn't touch the Yeti because it's smell proof. You have them, you know.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about like how it's big and it's hard to move. So we were like, oh, we need to get a second one because that other cooler broke.
Yeah.
So we've been looking at the wheelie one. So I wake up on Mother's Day and they're like, surprise, here's your cooler.
With the wheels?
With the wheels. You know, like, and I'm like, oh. And I look at the color and I'm like, oh, it's like electric blue. Nice. And then Abby and Safi are like, we told him to get the light blue one, but he said no. So it was really funny because not only did I get a cooler, but I got the color my husband wanted. So I think for Father's Day, like he's going to get like, I don't know, a spa day for me.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Or something in Pretty in Pink.
Yeah, so it was like really funny. So I'm like, he's like, well, we could take it back. And they're both like, we told you she wouldn't want that color.
Wait, you did not tell me you got the blue one.
Oh, yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, that's funny.
Blue. Not teal.
I will say, though, I love a Yeti
But
cooler.
it's a great cooler. I'm very excited about the gift. It
Yeah.
was just more like the funniness of like we're talking about buying one and then it's like not even the color. And he's like, well, I'm not pulling light blue one down the beach. I'm like, it's not your present.
That's like my husband. I have one of the pink soft coolers.
Oh, see,
because I got it for like a birthday gift or something like that, and he carries the pink soft one.
I mean,
because I'm like,
I might just go buy a
perfect size
pink one. Then fine. You don't want the baby blue? Then here's pink or lavender. But that was also like super funny. After we did like a Mother's Day episode of like what not to get your way.
Yeah, seriously, right? I just got flowers, which was totally fine by me.
Yeah, that's nice.
Honestly, Mother's Day was super. We call it low key, but I hosted my sisters and my mom at my house.
We hosted too.
It
was fun, but yeah,
it was fun. We had a good time.
It was low key.
The hard part with hosting though at my house is we have toddlers running around. My brother has 3 small kids under the age of 4, and then I have my grandbaby who's 2.
Oh yes,
so
I know her.
But we have a pool. So when you have so many people, like my eyes are constantly on the pool.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, it was Mother's Day, so my husband really took over. He cooks anyway.
Yeah, my husband, he told me, like, we're having people, but you don't have to do anything.
Totally.
He did stick to that.
And my husband and my brother-in-law, they were kind of in charge of the food and that sort of thing. But, I mean, I'm still, it's at my house. I go grab the paper plates and I set everything out and I do all of that. But my eyes were, like, on the kids the whole time. And then it got to a point where I was like, okay, everybody out of the pool. I closed the cover so that way I can go get everything ready. And I was like, you guys have to take a break.
That's smart, though. At least you have like one of those covers you can.
Well, because if not, I was like, the anxiety was just killing me. Yes. So, which is fine. But my sister wants to have her 40th birthday at my house. And I was like, totally cool, but no kids are allowed.
That's perfect.
And then my husband's like, so you'd rather deal with drunk adults? And I'm like, yeah, because they're adults.
It's the same. At least they just somewhat swim.
Hopefully. We'll hope. So otherwise, my mom moments are just busyness.
Busyness, yes. We also went to San Diego, which was for a wedding. That was a fun day.
Yeah, quick.
Yeah, so lots gone on. So like we went on an airplane and we went to, which is fun. Yeah, Safi was very excited to go on the airplane and get to get wings from the pilot.
Oh my gosh.
It's been a long time.
When's the last time you've flown?
A long time ago.
Really?
Before COVID.
Oh, wow.
I've flown a couple times.
Yeah.
But as a family, we haven't.
Yeah, I know. I'm in the mode of trying to figure out which colleges my daughter wants to go to. We are going to start exploring. I'm kind of late to the game. I probably should have done it over the summertime, but whatever it is, what it is. We'll probably go in like September. So now my next vacations are going to college.
So what I've heard from many of my friends who've been accepted this year, just as a tip, is don't discount some of the private colleges.
Yeah.
Because the states and UCs are very, very hard to get into, especially in California, no matter how amazing you are.
Yeah.
And the private colleges are kind of throwing money at people. So even though they're like pretty expensive, because there's availability there. My one friend was like, oh yeah, we were like, I don't know. And they're like, well, here's another 10,000. Here's another 20,000. So that's something I would have never thought of, but just as
it's a good tip.
Good tip.
I'll check it out. Yeah. I'll check it out. Cause she wants to go out of state. So we'll see.
Well,
we'll see.
Yeah. It could be just the same. Rental property out of state, establish some residence.
I know that's kind of what I'm planning on. So that's a whole nother topic.
It's a whole other topic.
Okay, so I want to get into our next section, which is our Swiftie standout of the week. And I'm going to have Shannon take charge of this one because she's got this beautiful listing in
Petaluma. So this is so exciting. This is a friend of mine that I met many years ago at Horses. And I'm sad to have their family move. They're very sweet people. They have redone this house. It is so beautiful. We'll share some pictures. The address is on Old Adobe Road in Petaluma. And it is, they spent over $800 and probably $50,000 when they bought this home 8 years ago.
Wow.
It is on 4.95 acres. It's your single-story ranch house. It's 3 bedrooms plus an office, 3 full baths, like a cute mudroom, laundry room, car garage, beautiful wood floors. But every part of this house has been touched. Like the kitchen's beautiful. They have custom-made barn doors.
Love it.
Heated bathroom floors and this beautiful woodwork in the living room. And then they have a pool house cabana, which is a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. So you could have, an in-law situation. Or it was really funny during my open house. It was actually empty nesters that were looking at the property mostly.
Oh, really?
So it was different than the family that lives there.
Yeah.
You'd have a mother or, rent it out or whatever. Or but a lot of people, their kids are graduating from college and they want them to come home and they don't know where to come and they want them to move and save money. So I had 3 different families looking for this opportunity.
That's great.
There's also a brand new redone pool as of 2 years ago, salt water that's in ground. So it's a ranch property, but it actually has a yard, which makes it like a little oasis on top of a hill. And then you get 360 views of the Sonoma Mountains.
Amazing.
You get sunrise on one side, sunset, and it's listed at $2,195,000. And the address, so 1568 oldadobe.com. So check it out.
And we can put the link on our YouTube, but we'll link it on our Instagram and
we'll get on our Instagram and show it. It's beautiful, and they are moving out of state, so they've definitely have put the love into it, and it's hard, as to find a property that either is on acreage with a home that's redone, or that's not like a 2-bedroom, right? Or, you find the pretty home, but there's not enough room for anything else because of the septic. So you could build a barn, you can have arena.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
My husband and I have talked about that because we want to build like a garage pool house or whatnot. And that our thought was build it big enough so we could potentially go move in there, rent out the main house, but we can travel while we live.
That's a great idea.
We always have a landing.
Yeah, and this one, is fully permitted, and it was permitted as a pool house cabana.
Yeah.
So it has a kitchen, full kitchen, living room, and then a full bedroom. So it's like a whole unit.
Yeah.
But the cool part is you can build another barn because this is just a pool house or an ADU. Yeah, but it's a great idea because if you can live in something big enough that you can do that, why not?
Yeah.
The house.
So Shannon had a Twilight tour. I unfortunately couldn't make it yesterday, but it went well.
It went really well. It's harder to get people the Twilight tour. We bribed some people by offering a Bottle Rock ticket. So we had to pick the winner today. But it was beautiful. We got to see the sunsets, and we appreciate everybody who came out. So thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. Wait, are you going to Bottle Rock?
I'm not going to Bottle Rock. Are you going?
I'm going on Sunday.
Which one? Who's on Sunday?
Noah Khan.
Okay.
I was bribed by my daughter.
Oh, well, at least you're going with your daughter. That's fun. No, I'm an open house haven land.
Yeah. I actually was trying to get out of it, and anyway.
Oh, you could
that's
send
a whole other
send Abby with
That's
it.
a whole other story. I'm just like, yeah, it's just a lot. So, okay. What I actually really want to talk about in our We Can't Make This Up is,
And we can't.
We can't. We had another big change in our industry, and it is affecting us, pretty much all over the place. Really.
It is
It's,
the craziest thing I've ever heard.
yes.
I mean, in a sense where I will just tell you and you can get into it.
Okay.
I had this home that we just talked about getting ready to get listed. And when you meet, we do a marketing plan. And part of our marketing plan was to have a week pre-marketing coming soon.
Right.
And do the Twilight tour as a preview. But as April will tell you about this, I had to have a cease and assist on all of that marketing plan and reverse it. So I had to have my broker open, and that's why we had the Twilight last night. And this is why.
Yep. So Zillow has implemented a new, I'm going to just read kind of the gist of it, but Zillow has implemented a new listing access standards that starting in May, so it pretty much started this month.
The 1st of May.
The 1st of May will bar certain homes listing from appearing on the platform, specifically listings that are publicly marketed to consumers, but not made widely available through the MLS service. Within 1 day will be excluded. So they're implementing this because of our NAR has a clear cooperation policy that we do have to make sure that listings, which we are not part of clear cooperation here in Sonoma County, but we kind of a nationwide, most MLS systems have to make sure that once a property goes on the MLS, it has to be within 1 day of it going active. If it has been on our MLS and not active within that 1 day period, that's where Zillow will now ban that property for the lifetime of the listing, as well as any data as sold data. It will be banned from Zillow, and it will not go on to their websites.
And Zillow owns Trulia, and Redfin is also jumped on to this bandwagon, as well as I'm not sure if other sites are, but I do know of those. And what that means for consumers is, let's say you listed with us and you got banned, you can't go down the street to Coldwell Banker or Compass or a competitor.
Correct.
You're banned. Your property's banned.
So with the way that we market properties, I have the same situation. I have a client who's moving out of state. We wanted to put it as coming soon just to see what kind of interest we got. We no longer,
And that means we can't even put a sign up outside the property. So sometimes like you would see like a sign, and we have like an internal office roster, like where we've turned in a listing and just a coming soon, but we're not ready to like present it to everybody. The coming soon sign, unless it's on MLS,
correct,
it cannot.
And that's because with AI, with Google, with all of these things, you can find anything now. And if I post a picture of an exterior of a house, you can grab that. AI will find it no matter what. So needless to say, this is a reaction to a large publicly traded brokerage who was marketing off-market listings privately on their website and solely on their website. So it was their response to that. And I get there's two sides to everything. And I get that Zillow really is just trying to make sure that everybody sees all of these properties. But to be honest, I have clients still who I have a private platform that we use, and it does go off of our MLS. So first off, the importance of using a local agent to use the platforms that link directly to our MLS. I think that's just going to be heightened at this point.
Absolutely.
Because sellers, if their properties aren't being marketed on Zillow, that's a huge negative, right? But also buyers, you're not going to be seeing all properties that are not obviously on Zillow. So to use our private, I use a program. It's called, we have ZenList and Real Scout, and they link through our MLS system so we can still share properties locally. But I myself, like I go on vacation, I go pull up Zillow. Hey, what's the market look like around this area?
Absolutely. And, my client, and I don't know if your client said the same thing, my client's like, well, why do we care?
Yeah.
Like this is our plan. Like, why are they interrupting it? And she has a great point. However, as we know, 97% of buyers are finding their home online.
Right.
And so many of them, that's where they're going. Unless you're connected with a realtor and you're on their platform or their lead, generation system, you are going to Redfin and Zillow. Those are the two most popular. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And if you're not on there, and you have to realize, like, that's where like a ton of our open house traffic comes from, is when we post it, those go out. So you see like the little tags, like, open Saturday, open Sunday.
Yeah.
We advertise, all over, we have AdWorks and, papers, and that's where most of our traffic comes from, are those public sites.
Right.
And I would have to say that the crazy part about that is so many people are still coming to our open houses unrepresented, even though they have to sign in and there's buyer broker agreements. We were kind of curious, like a few months back, how that was going to affect things. And I get a ton of people that are not represented. And so
they're still using Zillow and
they
Redfin.
still use Zillow and Redfin.
And the part with that is they're not educated. They don't know that they're not seeing all of these properties. So it's just, that's where the importance.
And it was like, it's just another one of the things. And I get it because, we have a fair trade organization. We're not trying to the reason we have a multiple listing service is so that we can share, because if we can't share, then our sellers are not getting the most exposure for their property.
Right.
However, it is hard when you are trying to prep a property and you want to do certain things.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's just interesting. Another wrench in the plan.
I know. Which, I mean, even as simple as I was going to go coming soon, we're going to go on market the day after Memorial Day. Well, I'm not going to go on market on that Friday before a holiday weekend because most people leave for the weekend.
Right.
So I was going to put it as a coming soon. I can't even do that.
No, can't even do
that.
So
I'm like,
one day.
Which means which is fine that I'm working on Memorial Day, but it just means that on Memorial Day, now I have to do all of the prep work to get it on market.
And that's exactly what happened to me. I literally flew in on Sunday from San Diego, and I was planning we had our invites, literally in the queue. Yeah. We had printed invites. I couldn't even send out my printed invites because it's just frustrating. We had to change the date, and it was literally like we had one day to launch our property because it had to be on MLS by Tuesday morning. And it was kind of a shame.
I know.
But I mean, luckily it's a great property. We're still getting traction, but it was just definitely like, why do we have to comply with this?
Totally.
But then the threat, right? Could you imagine if you didn't comply or you didn't know and you weren't a local agent, and then your client's like, well, why isn't my property showing on any of these sites?
I know.
Like, are they going to sue us?
And
are they going to sue our brokerage?
It's just kind of one of those, like, just throw us for what's the term? Throw a wrench in it.
Throw a wrench in it.
Just because we don't have enough that we deal with.
Well, I mean, it's just been like a rough 2 years with the changes that have been made, and we've all adapted, and we're just
totally.
We're good. I mean, we roll through changes like. Well, I mean, they're always updating forms. Like, we learn a form, and the next week it's like, well, now a lawsuit happens, we have to have another legal paragraph. You know what I mean? So we're good at changing in our industry, and it's we learn a platform. Oh, now you have a new version.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly. And what do I say the only constant in our lives is change, right? And it just means that we have to make adjustments as agents, especially in our marketing and the way that we're going to showcase things, which is fine. It's great. It just means that we have to come up with a different plan.
You do. And you have to stay on top of it. We're lucky. We work somewhere where they're constantly like educating us and making sure we know those changes.
Absolutely.
I remember for the buyer broker stuff, there was so many agents who'd been in the business a long time that were ready to retire, and they're like, that's it. We're done. We're retiring.
I'm over it.
I can't.
I was like, cool. Retire.
Like, bye. Okay.
I'll take your clients. No, I'm just kidding.
But it was just funny. But it just, So we'll see how it rolls out.
That's right.
I don't know who the Zillow police is, but we'll see.
I'm curious because like I was even gonna order a sign just because I was like, I was in my mode of like getting things done, and I was like, oh crap, I can't even have a sign to
No, that was the thing, because we had like a giant billboard sign.
I already had exterior photos also taken separately, so that way we can post it as a coming soon.
No need that anymore.
Not happening. So then of course I have to get the photographer on the phone. I was like, wait, just kidding.
Yeah.
Come back over.
Yeah.
Please.
So that's the other part. So it's just interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, and we have a lot of internal networking groups that we do like locally, and it was like, oh, you can't post on those.
Yeah.
So So I don't know who the police is, but
I don't know. We'll see.
This is the little police. Dun, 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 dun. And now we're going to sell your leads back to you now that we've policed you. Dun, 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 dun.
Right?
Yes. That's
Seriously.
the funny part about it all.
Well, and a lot of people don't realize, like with Zillow, with Redfin, when you click scheduled tour, it doesn't go to the listing agent.
yeah, you know that, right?
It goes to people who pays for those leads in order
that
to
know
get
nothing
your-
about the property.
in order to get your business. And they can be coming from Solano County. They can be coming from, which is fine. Nothing against people who work in
But
Solano
I'm not
County.
going to
But
sign up for Zillow and go sell a house in an area I don't know where it is.
I have no idea the neighborhood, the school district, anything about it. But
Yeah.
whatever.
So anyway,
Sure.
so that's just so you know, do not click schedule an appointment.
Yeah.
Call your agent, or at the very least, look up the listing agent who actually knows about the property.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I think.
Yeah.
Because,
It's the details.
yeah. So, yes. Anyways.
All right. Well, that's all we have for this episode. We will be back. I think we went on a new schedule every other week. But you can follow us for any updates on Instagram and Facebook. But
Please like and subscribe. See you later.
bye.